The criminal justice system isn't really how you or I remember it. Stiff sentences, not a lot of second chances, and judges were men and women you respected. But a few decades of restorative justice and the overall disintegration of public decorum leads us to situations like this.
I'm not out there committing crimes now, and I feel like I should be given a shot.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
No,
Deober Redden, the judge jumper, back in court today. Dressed like Hannibal Lecter, spit guard over his head, cushy orange gloves covering his hands. He was sentenced for his original battery charges by the judge he jumped. Here she is.
When we were last here, arguments were concluded and the court had begun to pronounce sentence when an incident occurred, an incident initiated by Mr. Redden, preventing the court from completing sentencing. That is the sole purpose for today's hearing. Any other issues that may arise from the events that occurred last Wednesday will be handled at a future date by a different court. For purposes of the record, I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in the process of imposing last week before I was interrupted by defendant's actions.
She didn't change or modify the sentence? The guy jumped over the bench, punched her in the face, and tore hair out of her head. She leaves the sentence as is? Whatever happened to throwing the book at people? Whatever happened to sanctioning the defense attorney whose client jumps you? Primetime likes old school judges with attitude, like this one.
When these people are upset about specific things that have gone on from that table, like shooting the middle finger up at this court and laughing and joking, Miss McNeil, be quiet. You have absolutely no right to have one of your assistants come up here and suggest something about my children. Now, please go sit down.
Judge.
You're inappropriate and out of line. Go sit down.
The judge who oversaw the Parkland mass shooting case, who's now in private practice, probably making a lot more money, joins us now. Judge, how is it that this judge in Vegas doesn't slap an additional 2 to 4 years on this guy?
Jesse, actually, I think she might be making a smart move there. That's the first time I had seen that particular part of it. But in this type of instance, a judge would normally have to recuse themselves because obviously if somebody beats you down, you can't be fair and impartial. So I believe the reason she said, I am not changing or modifying the sentence is so that she could continue to impose the sentence without later having a problem on appeal.
All right. You're probably right. But I hate what's going on in these courtrooms, Judge. I mean, you're constantly seeing guys that come in there that have had just a slew of felony charges. And every time you look at how it was adjudicated, it's like always pled down. And they never actually ever serve all of their sentences. Why is that?
I don't know. If you are efficient and you run your court, you work hard, you make your lawyers work hard, you can run an efficient division, and you do not need to be what I used to call giving away the courthouse in order to dispose of cases. It's a matter of getting your people to work, to get their cases ready for trial, and then move the cases along so that we don't have this position where judges have to, or feel they have to sort of give away everything in order to dispose of their cases.
What are you going to do if you were a judge and you had to sentence this guy for supermaning over the bench and attacking this judge with one of your colleagues? What would you sentence a guy like this for?
Well, you can take into account everything that they do in front of the court, and in fact, it's possible that she wouldn't have to disqualify herself only because it's like if a defendant acts up during trial, well, they can't get a mistrial because of their own behavior. So it's perhaps she would have been able to sentence him more harshly based on his actions, and certainly another judge could take that into consideration. This is obviously a person who's unhinged and, the community needs to be protected from.
Absolutely. Well, I'd throw the book at him, and I think everybody needs the book thrown at them because we've not thrown books in this country for decades. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining Primetime.
Thank you, Jesse.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.